This is a review of the fraction skills that we have done so far. So pay attention and see how well you remembered the skills that we have learned.
But before we do that, let's do some review of what we have covered so far. So far we've talked about fractions and what they are. And fractions are pieces of things. And we know that a fraction has a numerator, or a top part, and a denominator, or a bottom part that's down, so it begins with D. And it has a fraction line, and this fraction line, a division line, and the division line means divided by. So this means 3 divided by 8. And we know that the bottom part of the fraction tells us how many pieces there are in a whole. So, 3/8, we know that there are 8 pieces in the one whole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the top part of the fraction tells us how many pieces we are interested in using or working with. And so, this figure represents the fraction 3/8. So, numerator, top part, divided by line, denominator, bottom part. How many pieces are in the whole? Bottom part tells us how many pieces we're interested in using. Second concept we talked about in fractions is the different types of fractions. So we talked about proper fractions. Proper fraction, the numerator is always smaller than the denominator. Numerator is always smaller than the denominator, so 3/4. We know there were 4 pieces in the whole, and we're interested in using 3 of them. So proper fractions are always less than 1 whole. Always less than 1 whole. And we had improper fractions. And in an improper fraction, the numerator is larger than the denominator. It's larger. So if I were to draw the fraction 4/3, well, I know there are 3 pieces in the whole. I know there are 3 pieces in each whole, but I need 4 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4/3. And improper fractions are always greater than 1 whole. This is 1 whole, and this is a third more than that. So they're always greater than 1 whole. Then we had mixed numbers, and the mixed number would be like a whole number and a fraction. That's a mixed number. And actually, if I were to draw this one, it would look like this. So I have 3 wholes. So 1, 2, 3. And then I have 3/4. So obviously mixed numbers are always greater than 1 whole. So those are the 3 types of fractions. The third skill we worked on was putting a fraction in its smallest name. So let's take the fraction 6/12. We would like to make sure that it's in its smallest name, because sometimes when we're working with fractions, we have to reduce them to their smallest name. So we say to ourselves, what number will go evenly into 6? And the same number will go evenly into 12. Well, right off the bat, we know that this is an even number and this is an even number, so we could try 2. So we would divide this by 2, and divide that by the numerator and denominator by the same number. So if we divide 6 by 2, or how many times does 2 go into 6? It goes in 3 times. How many times does 2 go into 12? It goes 6 times. Now we have to say to ourselves, okay, so we have made 6/12 a smaller name, but is this in its lowest name? Is there any number that can go into 3 evenly, and the same number go into 6 evenly? Well, we can say, well, yes, 3. 3 can go into 3, and 3 can go into 6, so we divide by 3. 3 goes into 3 1 time. 3 goes into 6 2 times. So we have renamed 6/12 to its lowest name, which is 1/2. Now, let me just erase this for a minute. We took 2 separate steps to get to 1/2. Well, when we asked the initial question, if we said, is there a number that goes evenly into 6 and the same number goes evenly into 12, we could have said, yes, 6. So if we divide both of them by 6, 6 goes into 6 1 time. 6 goes into 12 2 times. So we get the same answer. Doing it this way, picking the largest number that can go evenly into both of them, will reduce the number of steps that you have to do. But either way, we got the correct answer. Now let's take a look at this one, just to review. Let's have, suppose we get an answer in a problem. And the answer to the problem is 6 6/9. Okay, so we get the mixed number is the answer to the problem. So what we have to do is we say, okay, is 6/9 in its lowest name? Is there any number that goes evenly into 6? And the same number will go evenly into 9. We say, yes, 3 will. So we can divide by 3. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 3 goes into 9 3 times. So then the answer is 6 2/3. So we have changed the fraction part of the mixed number from 6 6/9 to 6 2/3. And 2/3 is in its lowest name. Well, good. Now on to today's lesson.